Hey y'all, what's up? This is Seanmiketv coming to you guys with I'm Just Saying. I haven't came to it with you guys for a long time. But I gotta get it in with y'all. This subject shut down the whole I'm Just Saying. Nothing much you can say. We're gonna go in and talk about Eddie Long. He settled out of court. For what I wrote, everybody's getting $2.2 million for like 4 years or something like that. I don't know if that's all true, but all I have to say is, wow. It really pushes people away from going to church and going to the message of God. Getting the message from God, not me. You ain't gonna touch me. I'm cool with it. I'm not cool with what he's doing, but it's not going to push me away. I must go to another church. That's it. It will push a lot of people away to say, you see, that's why I didn't go to church. You see, that pastor was doing all them things and all that stuff like that. He was doing all that nasty stuff, doing all that stuff. So that's why I didn't go to church. That's why I didn't go to church. And it really pushes people away from the real message of church and what goes on at church. It's a great experience. You learn so much. You grow so much. And it really pushes the whole thing about church away from having things like that. He's not the only pastor that done that too. I mean, there's a lot of pastors, that did that. And it's really confusing to me. Like, I mean, if the congregation still stands down for that, and I don't know. If I was part of that church, I would leave to go to another church. I wouldn't stop going to church. I wouldn't do nothing. I would just say, okay, I always like the other church, so I'll just try to go to another church. That's what I would do. I would do that. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. But I'm just saying, really push people away from his situation. If you guys don't know about Eddie Long, he's a pastor, very popular pastor in ATL, Atlanta, Georgia. And 4 men, basically told him that bled out on the news that they were molested by him. And he went out on the church and said he was going to fight like David and Goliath and he's going to fight this out in court. Dude settled out of court. And that really does not, it really just pushes people away. I really think that. And I think also, I listened to the Ricky Smiley morning show. I never used to like them, but now I really like them. And Ricky was going in. He was saying like, you guys, like, he needed to have somebody, like, by his side telling him, what you doing ain't right. I hope you know that. If you get caught, you were in trouble. You will lose almost probably everything. You probably going to have to start fresh again. He needed somebody telling him, like, yo, this is not right. And and then the other side is the parents. Like, where were the parents in all of this stuff? But I also think it's a lot of things to take in consideration. I also think, a person comes to mind. This is my pastor. He's not going to do anything like that. He's not going to do anything, They trusted him. He's cool, Not all of that. And not doing all of that. It really, like, but it really pushes people away from going to church. And I really just hope this all goes away so people not forget about it, but just not think about that image of church, because church is not that way. And, I'm not saying I used to think like that, but I used to be a person kind of like in the terms of that way. Like, oh, okay, see, that's why I didn't go to church this Sunday. Because it's just like, it's really like pushing people away. And I really don't like that stuff coming out from the church. And it's always been going on for years. People say years the church has been doing stuff like this. But it's just that I don't like it in the mainstream like this. All over the internet like this, you know what I'm saying? But at least it's not all over like Casey Anthony's case, she needs a home segment her damn self. Like, I don't know what to say about that. But I just really have to say, like, I really hope people just, people who are going there, just go to a different church. Don't stop your religion and believing in God and being a Christian. Just keep going. Do your next thing, Pray at your house sometime and then go to church. I don't know. This is just how I feel about it. But it's just that, it's weird to me. It's just weird to me that, wow, you never know what goes on in your church, but don't take it to heart. I don't know. It's very hard to say. Don't take it to heart with it. Just say, okay, that pastor was doing that. Wow. You have your wow moments. Okay, we're going to the next church. I don't know. That's how I would take it if I was in that situation. I found out a pastor was doing all that, and I'd be like, okay, wow, okay, everybody needs to be forgiven too. You know what I'm saying? He needs his second chance. Everybody gets a second chance, third chance, fourth chance, fifth chance, sixth chance. And he probably needs another chance. And some people are probably giving him that, and I give them congrats to that. But as a person, for me, I would probably leave the church. I'll probably come back like 2 years later and be like, "What's good?" But I don't know about that. That's just crazy. But I'm just saying. So leave your comments in the comment box below. Thanks for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe. If you dislike, I'm not saying I don't care, but it's your opinion. So this is Sean Mike coming to you guys with I'm just saying. Peace. Peace. And you got to put the peace on up. Peace.